morning, Greenwood County. Good morning. So I have to take my glasses off to read, but I need them to see y'all, so. But, you know, I'm getting at that point in my life. But thank y'all so much for having me, Bill. Thank y'all for the invitation. Thank you to your executive committee and the rest of your leadership. It's been a long time since I've been to Greenwood, but I do still recognize a lot of folks. So my name is Christale Spain, and a lot of you know me, but some of you don't. So let me take a few minutes to introduce myself. I was born and raised in Columbia, South Carolina. I'm a proud graduate of the University of South Carolina at Aiken. Go Pacers. I also have a master's degree from Columbia College. And I thought with all that education, I would end up with a career in social work. But I spent the first 10 years of my life working in foster care. But I became disheartened with my employer and the system, so I had to leave. When I came to volunteer for the South Carolina Democratic Party, which is about 12 years ago now, and time really flies, I was an unemployed single mother. I was disgusted with the job opportunities for someone with my education and my employment history, and I was frustrated with the lack of access for those same reasons to public assistance. But simply by being a dedicated volunteer, and I know I'm preaching to the choir, I was able to work my way up through the state Democratic Party from volunteer to becoming the executive director of the South Carolina Democratic Party. Thank you. I worked for three chairs in my tenure as a staff person there off and on. But most recently, I've served at the Democratic Congressional Campaign Committee, which is the U.S. Democratic House Caucus's political arm, how they win their elections, as a senior advisor for Black engagement. And in that role, I was tasked with a 7-figure budget to not only mobilize Black voters, but to persuade them. As we talk about it all the time, our voters, we don't do enough constituency outreach, and Black voters feel taken for granted. So I developed a program where we moved them from GOTV targets to persuasion targets. I ended up spending in 13 races across the country. We won 12 of those races. Wow. Thank you. When I came to the party, I never imagined this would be a job, let alone a career, right? I didn't really know what the party was. I didn't understand why it didn't break down when the campaign was over, but I started to understand that the party is a campaign and it is an institution, right? It has to be nimble like a campaign while remaining steadfast as an institution because it has to be here. You have to have your convention every year. Things have to happen. And so that's the same thing that has to happen at the state level. So a little bit more about my resume. I've also been able to lead presidential campaigns here in South Carolina. I did Bernie 2016 when it wasn't cool to do Bernie 2016 as an African-American person, but I did it with grace and I worked my behind off for Bernie Sanders. I also did Cory Booker's race in 2020, which was really the joy of my career. I worked in Congressman Clyburn's district office in Columbia. So that's my resume. Those are the things that I've done politically. But that's enough about me. Let's talk about our party. And that deserves a big round of applause because you guys are here as a part of our party. So much like you guys, I love the South Carolina Democratic Party. I believe in it. It loved me, it believed in me, and this is why I'm standing before you. And I'm elated to know and to learn of all the work that has been put into us becoming first in the nation, which is a tremendous honor. And I salute all the people that worked hard for us to get there. And I know that my experience has prepared me to lead us successfully through this process because I understand both sides, like I've laid out. I understand the needs of our presidential campaigns that are going to come into the state, and I also understand the needs, the duties, and expectations of the state party when it comes to running that first in the nation primary. So like I said, this is great news for our state party, and I say that because it guarantees our future as a state party. I've worked across this state, I've worked across this country, and everybody doesn't have a functional state party. When I mean they don't have an office, sometimes they don't have an ED, they don't have any staff. So what we have, sometimes it may be lacking, but it's there. It's there and it's remaining steadfast, and we have to really celebrate that. But with all that being said, I cannot overlook the devastating losses that we suffered in November. There were tremendous losses for our party and for our candidates. But now I really pride myself, and anybody who knows me, I'm honest and I'm transparent. So I'm not going to stand up here and overpromise and tell you that, oh yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. But I will promise you that we're going to work to change our trajectory. I've learned lots of things at the local and national level. And the one thing that we're going to do is we're going to rebuild our relationships and our partners that Brandy talked about at the State House Democratic Caucus and our Senate caucus. And we're going to build a strategic plan that we're all going to be invested in, from the State House to the county parties, so that we can win elections and stop the bleeding. Lost my place, y'all. I need my glasses, right? It's such a weird space for me to be in. Sorry about that. But if I'm elected chair, I will promise you this, that I will build a program that wins election. I have done it. I know how to do it. I've worked on campaigns here locally. We may not have won, but in 2020 we mobilized 1.1 million Democratic voters, and that is success. It isn't the victory we were looking for, but we did that. And I was the coordinating campaign director on that effort. I'll build a program that will, number one, invest in a 46 county strategy, because I've been all around this state supporting county parties in different capacities, and I know that a one-size-fits-all approach will not work. What's going to work in Charleston and work in Richland County is not going to work here. As Brandon mentioned, Bill Kimball has been doing a great job. He's got the torch passed from him from Charles Lewis. You guys are creating this succession plan where you're building, and we have to encourage and provide guidance to other state parties to be able to do, other county parties to be able to do that. I'm going to build a sustainable fundraising apparatus. And yes, we have to talk about the money, because if we don't have any money, then we don't exist. I know how to raise money. I know how to manage a budget. As a black woman, as I said, I know how to make $1 out of 15 cents, right? I'm not going to overpromise and I'm not going to overspend. We're going to have a more effective candidate recruitment and training effort. Sometimes we have great candidates who are not supported, and sometimes we have great people with great intentions that we need to build into great candidates. And I'm going to spend my time investing in that program. We're going to build better relationships with our allies and partners. Like I said, the House Democratic Caucus, the Senate Democratic Caucus, as well as other allied groups. I sat with the president of the NAACP on Monday, and I told her the relationship that the national president has with the Democratic committees. There are things that we can do. No, we cannot coordinate. But if we build a solid program that has public signals, they'll know what we're doing, and they'll know what they should be doing. I'm wrapping it up, Bill. Got it. And last but not least, I'm going to execute on a plan that expands and mobilizes our voter base. The voters are here. We just got to get them out. We got to talk to them. Those are some highlights from my plan. I look forward to talking to you all individually or in small groups about what I want to do, and I'm going to leave you with this. Progress can be slow and painful. There will always be challenges, and as Southern Democrats, we have to keep fighting to make our voices heard. But it will be worth it in the end, because we do it for the love of country, community, and for ourselves. Thank y'all so much. I'm running for chair of the South Carolina Democratic Party. I would love your consideration for your vote. Thank you so much.